Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. If you are new to the world of mayhem, come on in, honey, and sit yourself down and get comfortable. You in good hands, I promise. Because you see, the Melanin Mayhem podcast brings you the stories of some of the most prolific, diabolical, and downright audacious serial crimes committed by some melanated baddies that you probably never heard of, or you got the whitewashed version of what happened. But not over here. Oh, no, honey. I'm going to break it down for you because you see, my mission in life is to combat this myth that's out there that there are certain types of crimes that black people don't commit. Because, baby, that's a myth all day, every day. And if you believe that, you might fuck around and find out the hard way. Because black people have been committing serial shenanigans and audacious crimes since we got here. And quiet as it's kept, we never stopped. And if you don't believe me, just ask the fine, upstanding members of the New War Nation. Ooh, what up, son? It's been 7 whole days and not a word from you. Shout out to Tony Braxton. Man, I have missed y'all real bad. And let me just go ahead and get this out the way because them newbies might not know it, but I know y'all can already tell. The country girl is sick as a dog. Somebody has infected me, y'all. And it's taking everything in me to get on this mic and do what I got to do. Now, normally, I like to record on Mondays and then edit on Tuesdays. But yesterday, I was feeling mighty bad. So I said, you know what? Let me just wait. And maybe tomorrow I feel and sound better. But tomorrow has come. And baby, I think it's even worse. So, please, you know what it is and you know what it ain't. This episode might be a little choppy. It might be a little crunchy because guess what? This cold got me laid low. It's not really a bad cold in the fact that my nose ain't running. I ain't sneezing. I'm slightly nasally. But I got this little cough that just won't stop. And every few words, I got a cough. So I have enlisted the help of my daughter, my 22-year-old, to help me with the editing. So I don't know what y'all gonna get, but just, put it in the hands of the Lord and we gonna push through. And just know I am doing everything in my power to get back to 100%, okay? Now, I have missed y'all real bad, and I have been trying to write up several stories and get them recorded so that I would have them stockpiled. Because, baby, Virgo season is right here. Do y'all see it? And the country girl is celebrating a milestone birthday this year, and the travel of it all is real. Baby, I just got my passport back because I fucked around and let it expire. But thankfully, the online renewal process is easy like Sunday morning and quick. Let me tell y'all, don't pay for that expedited service. I got mine back in 12 days. Baby, we about to be catching flights and not feelings for the next 90 days or so. But sick, birthday, shenanigans, or whatever, I am not going to leave y'all hanging because you just don't do family like that. And I also don't want y'all in my DMs going in. Because y'all know how y'all act. And I don't want none of that smoke. Okay? Not to mention, when I'm feeling low, like I truly am today, sometimes God will put something in my spirit. And in today's case, it was a comment on Spotify that just popped up a few minutes ago, y'all. And normally this is not the New War Nation shout out. This is for a newbie. And this person, Eve, they commented on the All Fired Up episode. And y'all, Eve said, bless the Spotify algorithm. I found my new favorite podcaster. And it's those type of messages, not just from the new people, but from my tried and true down like 4 flat tires. The stuff that y'all send me, it gives me so much heart and it just peps my spirit up that I will get in this booth and sweat like a Hebrew slave. But baby, we gonna do what we came to do, all right? Now, I got a couple of church announcements. First and foremost, because of this cold, there is no inhaling, so I am stone cold sober doing this podcast. So I don't know what the hell y'all gonna get because I am hopped up on what is the stuff? NyQuil PM. It is 3:00 in the daytime, and I have already taken some PM to try to see if something can stop this coughing. So I don't know what y'all gonna get. Blame it on the medicine, okay? The second announcement is, hey, the live show is coming. The BTCC live show is coming, y'all. Tickets are on sale now. I will post the link in the show notes as well as the link for the hotels. VIP is selling out. I think there are a handful of VIP seats left, so don't tarry. If you like that VIP life, go on, get on the good foot and get yourself right, because we gonna sip and we gonna paint and we gonna have crime stories of the live variety. And we not gonna even ask you to keep this shit a secret. Cause why? No tea, no shade. But when you dealing with the BTCC, the Black True Crime Collective, we bringing fresh stories every time. We not reheating up these meals that we feeding y'all. The same way I be asking y'all to share me in the group chat. We want you to share the shows that we put on. Plus, you know we can't hold water when the tea is piping hot. Also, don't forget your Melanin Mayhem merch is available at melaninmayhempodcast.com. I was thinking about adding some of those clack fans to the site. What y'all think? I know the boots is on the ground, even if Carnival did tell y'all to keep that shit in the car. But the way my perimenopause is set up, I be needing all the air I can get, honey. And I promise you, I got a fan in every room and 3 or 4 of them in the car. Battery operated, manual. I even got a couple of old school MLK church fans in that bit. Now that concludes the announcements for this week. So let's go and get on to why we show up every week. The mayhem of it all. And my Lord, do I have a story of fuckery and foolishness for you today. I got another story about another regular looking dude that was anything but regular. Clean cut, well spoken, always put together. That's how this man is described. Not the kind of man that you think would be a monster. But he was twice paroled, twice allowed to slip through the cracks when he should have been locked up and the key thrown away. There will be much going on today, and I'm going to try my best to keep my mouth on the right side of reckless, but no promises. So let's go on ahead and bring this trifling, disgusting, molesting, raping, murdering, stinking ass, pussy punk ass nigga to the front of the congregation. This week's Melanin Mayhem maker is Mr. Nathaniel White. All right, y'all. So Nathaniel White was born in Poughkeepsie, New York on July 28, 1960. His parents were Hester and Mary White. He had an unremarkable childhood, just regular and normal. He graduated from Poughkeepsie High School in 1979 and went on to Bowie State College for about a year before he dropped out. He then went on to join the Army, where he made it to the rank of a sergeant and then was honorably discharged in 1984. In 1986, he moved from Poughkeepsie to Wallkill, New York, which is in Orange County. Not West Coast. This is not a Cali thing. This is upstate New York. And according to the street committee, he was just a dude that really didn't apply himself. He was the equivalent of a basic bitch. He like a good 40 and no stress, no ambition kind of job from time to time, just getting along to get along. Well, in 1987, about a year after he moved to Wallkill, Nathaniel decides to jump off into these criminalistic streets and decides to rob 3 convenience stores in Middleton, New York. He gets sent up for 2 years for those crimes. He is released on parole in November of 1989, right? And he's doing what he do, but then some stuff starts happening. This first crime that happened was 29-year-old Juliana Frank. She was found near some railroad tracks in Middleton. Now, her throat was cut from ear to ear, and she was sliced from neck to navel, in addition to like 30-plus stab wounds. She was also raped as well as tortured. Now, whoever did this to Juliana posed her body in a very freakish kind of way. She's naked, and she's laying face up. Well, police don't know who killed her. They have no clue. They have no suspects. But, they're keeping the case open. Well, that following month, April 16th, 1991. Now, remember, Nathaniel is out on parole. He just got out, right? And, you know, when you're on parole, that means you ain't supposed to be out here doing no kind of shenanigans of the criminalistic nature, right? So what he do? Nathaniel kidnaps a teenage girl at knife point from the club. Yeah. See, what had happened was there was this teenage girl at the club. And, you know, doing what she do, she dancing, she partying, she sweating or whatever, and she met Nathaniel, and she asked him for her ride home. And he was like, sure. So she goes to the car with him, where he proceeds to pull out this blade and tell her that, you know, I ain't finna take you home, you finna go with me. Now, Nathaniel takes her back to his house in Wallkill, which is aptly named, Wallkill. And this girl, she is able to escape from Nathaniel before he is able to do what he came to do. And she runs to the popo and drops a dime on Nathaniel. Well, the police, they go and snatch his ass up the very next day on the 17th. And they charge him with felony kidnapping. Now, remember, this nigga is out on parole. And he just snatched up somebody's child. A clubbing child, but a teenager, non-adult human being nonetheless. Now, he took her to his house, and if she hadn't been determined that she wasn't gonna get got, she would have been probably raped and more than likely deader than a motherfucker. I mean, sure, yes, she asked him for a ride, and she got in the car willingly with him, but that was because he was presenting as a nice guy, and she asked to go home, not to his spot. That's kidnapping all day long. But instead of keeping the charges as they were, as a felony, tell me why they dropped the charges down in a plea deal to unlawful imprisonment. What in the entire fuck? A motherfucking misdemeanor? See, this the bullshit I be talking about. When you got a book to throw at their asses for sex crimes, sex adjacent crimes, throw the motherfucking book, man. I mean, it's time to start making motherfuckers understand that you can't just snatch a bitch up and make her go with you. A misdemeanor? How you say we don't give a fuck without saying it? I mean, how you say fuck your trauma, young lady, without saying it? You charge the man, you take him from a felony to a misdemeanor. So this nigga Nathaniel, oh, honey, he gets a sweetheart of a deal. I'm talking the sweetest, most kindest, most go ahead and get back to grabbing him by the pussy kind of deal that one could possibly get. The misdemeanor charge that he got, he will only do 1 year and be right back out on the street. You heard me. I said 1 year. The nigga was out on parole when he did this lady snatching. That should have violated his parole and sent his black ass back to prison. But instead, his bad behavior is rewarded. His parole violating behavior with a brief sit your ass down and then you free to go? Man, get the fuck out of here. Y'all some clown-ass judicials, and he really about to play all in y'all faces. Matter of fact, the playing in your face started before he got this little slap on the wrist, because you remember what I told you about Juliana Frank being sent to the upper room in March? That was 1 month before he kidnapped the teenager from the club. If I told you about him, you know that means Nathaniel did that shit. So he had already killed a woman, but police just didn't know at the time that he was the murderer that murdered Juliana. But he was, and he did, and he ain't through yet. Cause baby, soon as this nigga feet touched free ground 1 year later, he picked right back up where he left off in his murderous shenanigans. All right, so he gets out 365 days later on April 23rd of 1992. And he goes home. Home being the apartment that he shares with his girlfriend, a woman named Jill Garrison. I know. But we know that a dumb bitch is always trying to be down like Brandy. And I know y'all probably got questions. Like, was she with him when he got arrested for kidnapping somebody's child and she stayed down for his little bid? Or did Jill make this nigga after he was locked up for kidnapping somebody's child and thought he was a good catch? Honey, let me tell you. Jill been down with this nigga since Jordache jeans. This ain't no new relationship. Oh, no, this shit is established. They been kicking it for like 6 years. And the shit is problematic as hell considering she got 2 daughters. But, oh, baby, it's about to get way worse. So he get out in April of 92. And the following month, May 18th, 1992, a family court petition is filed accusing Nathaniel of child abuse of the sexual variety. Now, I know you lying, Nate. Nope, I sure ain't. I couldn't find who made the accusation, but this nigga ain't been free 30 days, and this is what we doing? And Jill, dumb, thirsty ass, stayed right there with her man, 'cause the child he is accused of fucking with is one of Jill's children. Wait, what? Nay, wait. I know you lying. You mean to tell me Jill old man tried one of her daughters and she still calling this nigga her dude? Sure is. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Like I said, problematic as fuck. But you know, Dumb Bitch University got all kind of graduates, honey. All kind of graduates. Every day a bitch is graduating from Dumb Bitch University. So Nathaniel has been out for about 2 months at this time, right? He with his girl Jill, and you know, because they've been together for such a long time, he's in good with her family, meaning that he know first level relatives, you know, her children, as well as the second level relatives, her siblings, her nieces, her nephews, her parents, right? So June 30th, he is driving Jill's brother. Jill's brother, his name is Gerard Garrison. Nathaniel is taking him to Jill's mama house, right? And as they are driving, they're almost there to Goshen, New York. They pass a girl that's walking on the street. And as they drive by, Gerard is like, wasn't that Christine? Christine is him and Jill's niece, their other brother's kid. And Nate was like, nah, man, that wasn't Christine. And he keep on going. Now, he didn't slow down or stop to see. Now, New Orleans Nation, let me break something down for y'all right quick so you can see what I'm getting at. First of all, Wallkill, New York to Goshen is about a 20-minute drive or so. They're both in Orange County, New York. Both are very small towns, or villages, if you will. And in 1992, the population of Goshen was 5,700 people, meaning everybody know everybody in this bitch. It's a small town. So follow me now. You know when we see our people, you know what I'm saying, right? Black, white, or Asian, or any other persuasion, we know our relatives when we see them, especially in a small town. Now, they are on the street that Gerard Mama and them stay on. It's perfectly reasonable that their granddaughter would be walking to their house. And if you see a girl with the same body shape, silhouette, and walk as your niece on the street walking towards your mama house, I think that warrants a hold up, my guy. I think that actually was Christine. That's my niece. Back up. We can get her a ride. She ain't got to be walking. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I know my nieces and nephews up close and at a distance. But Gerard let Nathaniel make him believe that his eyes ain't see what they know they seeing. And they continue to drive on to Gerard Mama and them house. Now Nathaniel was damn near on 2 wheels pulling up to Gerard Mama house. He just barely stopped. No, he didn't come in for a minute. No, he didn't have to use the bathroom. No, he ain't finna stop and shoot the shit with his future in-laws for a minute. Nope. Nathaniel threw Gerard the deuces and was back on the road to where that girl that looked like Gerard's niece was walking. Now, that very same day, 14-year-old Christine Klebe, she didn't come home. That's Gerard's niece. Him and Jill. Now, her parents, they say that she was walking to her grandparents' house. You know, Gerard and Jill's mama. But she never made it. And she was never seen again. Now, this puss-ass nigga, Nathaniel, he went right back to where that girl was walking. And it was indeed Christine. He picks her up and he go and buy some beer. And they go off on a little deserted side road, drink some beer, and then Nathaniel Chester child molester punk ass, he has sex with this 8th grade graduate. And when he get through, Christine, being a youngster, she say something to the extent of, you know, I might have to tell somebody what we did because you ain't used no condom and I might come up pregnant and I got to tell them what had happened and who my baby daddy might be. Well, Nathaniel couldn't have that, so he tells Christine, hey, come go with me in the woods. I want to show you something. Christine was reported missing the very next day on July 1st, 1992. Now, in what I feel is a strange turn of events, the family still proceeds with plans for a 4th of July celebration, even though Christine, their daughter, niece, and grandchild ain't been seen in days. Yeah, they proceed with this family gathering, even though the family is sad as fuck. And guess who is playing the role of the consoler of everybody? That goddamn Nathaniel. Baby, he going around telling everybody, oh, it's gonna be all right. Christine gonna be just fine. She gonna be home soon. Knowing goddamn well that he has killed her. Ain't that some trifling shit? A motherfucker smiling in your face, eating your groceries, knowing damn well he done killed your people and got rid of the body. Just audacious, I tell you. Well, he ain't done. Now, he liked to keep it in the family a little bit. Let me tell you about this. Nathaniel's girlfriend, Jill, she got a friend named Laurette Riviere Huggins. She 34 years old, and she is from St. Vincent, as of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the Caribbean. Well, Laurette, she had some visa issues, and I ain't talking about the credit card. I'm talking about the paperwork that allows you to stay in the U.S. legally. Well, Jill helped Laurette find an immigration lawyer to try to get the issues resolved because it's her girlfriend, right? But it was not to be, and Laurette has to exit stage left out of the U.S. So this particular day, July 10th, 1992, she is in the midst of packing her shit, preparing to go back to St. Vincent and figure out what her next move is. Now, mind you, as a friend of Jill's, of course, she has met and been around Nathaniel. Well, earlier that same day, July 10th, Nathaniel had been playing basketball with one of the homies, dude named Todd Price. They played ball for a while, and it's now after midnight, and Todd was like, hey, man, I gotta bounce. My old lady gonna kill me if I don't get my ass home. So Nathaniel drops Todd off at his apartment in Middleton, again, little town, little village near Wallkill. But guess who lives up the street from Todd? Laurette Huggins, Jill's friend that's about to leave the U.S. Well, the very next morning on July 11th, a friend comes to Laurette's house and finds her deader than a motherfucker, slit, slashed, and sexually assaulted. And then the dirty motherfucker drug her to her bedroom and posed her in the same manner as Juliana Frank. But police don't make the connection. She's just a dead migrant, and they move on. Now, Jill is distraught when she finds out that her friend has been murdered. And what she do? She talk about the awfulness of the situation with her man, Nathaniel. Because Laurette got 2 children and no relatives in the state. So, of course, she's concerned with what's going to happen to them. Because the kids had just spent the night at Jill's house a couple of weeks earlier. And guess what, Jill? Your boyfriend is the reason why Laurette's kids are orphans now. And, of course, Nate is just consoling Jill, telling her that the Lord works in mysterious ways, but it's going to be all right. Ooh, black Jesus be a fence, honey. Just bullshit. Now, while the police are not seeing the pattern between Laurette's killation and Juliana's killation, they do find their way to going to see Nathaniel on July 13th, 1992, to ask him about Christine's disappearance. Christine, the niece that disappeared, remember her? I guess Jill's brother Gerard must have told the police that he thought he saw her that day, but Nate said that it wasn't her. So the police were just doing some follow-up on a missing runaway. Yeah, they don't actually suspect Nathaniel has done anything or had anything to do with her disappearance at all. They just checking off boxes. Baby, they don't even run Nathaniel's background, so they don't even know that they was already dealing with somebody that liked to snatch up teenagers. Just dereliction of duty. Ooh, Jesus. New One Nation, you know, there is no better fun than when you are a 20-something going out with your kinfolks and your girlfriends. Man, those are some fun times, because when you are 20-something, everything is an adventure. Who knows what the night gonna bring? And as long as you got your girls down for whatever, life is good, right? And that's just how it was for 23-year-old Angelina Hopkins and her homegirl, 20-year-old Brenda Whiteside, as well as Brenda's cousin, Yolanda Stewart. And on the 18th of July, just 8 days after Laurette got sent on to glory, these friends find themselves hanging out at Club Blue Note in Poughkeepsie. You know, where Nathaniel is from? Yeah, so the girls, they're at the club and they dancing and drinking and having a good 20-something good time, right? And as the club is winding down, you know it's time to figure out what we gonna do next. And the girls have a big papa moment. You know, one of them, tell your friends to get with my friends and we can be friends. We can do this every weekend type of situation. Yeah, see, they met some guys. And the guys was like, hey, y'all hungry? So what they finna do is steam on the way to the telly and go fill their belly with a T-bone steak, cheese, eggs, and what's great. They gonna conversate for a few, because in a few, somebody might be finna do what we came to do. You know what I'm saying? And Angelina and Brenda, they was like, true, But Yolanda, she was like, nah, I'm a pass, and she takes that ass home. So they go to breakfast. It's 6 of them. It's a group of 4 guys and Angelina and Brenda. Now, after eating and whatever, somehow the girls end up in the car with one of the guy friends. What's his name? Nathaniel White. Yeah, your boy Nate was going to make sure the girls got home to Poughkeepsie safely. Well, needless to say, that didn't happen. The next morning, when the girls weren't at home, Angelina's family knows instantly that something ain't right. Because she go out, but she always dragged that ass back home because she got 2 kids and she likes sleeping in her own bed, and her bed ain't been slept in. So they go to the police on the morning of the 19th to report the girls missing. That following Sunday, on the 26th, girlfriend Yolanda, which is the cousin of Brenda, she's back at the club. It was stripper night, male stripper night. And guess who was up in that bitch? That goddamn Nathaniel. First of all, sir, why is you up in here on male stripper night? Is you working the pole? He working though. You see, male stripper night means the club is full of the women's, and they might be in need of some little pipe work after they get hot and heavy, right? So Yolanda see this nigga, and she go up to him and she asks him about Angelina and Brenda. Nathaniel tells her that he dropped them off at some random ass address in Poughkeepsie, and apparently they both go back to doing their thing in the club. I guess Nate was starting his celebration early because his 32nd birthday was a couple of days later on July 28th, and this was probably the pregame show, but you best believe he treated himself to something special for his birthday a couple of days later. You see, on July 29th, 29-year-old Adrienne Hunter, she's out visiting a friend in Middleton. It's getting late, but you know, they drinking and shooting the shit. They don't care about it being late because Adrienne lives just down the street, so she can walk home. No worries about no DUIs or nothing like that. So Adrienne stays a little bit longer, and then she tipsy walks on down the road. Now, this friend that she was visiting, they standing in the door watching her walk away, and the last thing they say is, all right, girl, I'll see you tomorrow, and then they go on in the house. There will be no tomorrow for Adrienne. They found her body the next day on the 30th in an overgrown hillside in the woods of Goshen, New York. Adrienne has been stabbed a gajillion times, like legit, more than 45 stab wounds all over her naked body, and she been raped. And it looked like she been posed. Posed just like how Laurette and Juliana's body was. But oh shit, the Goshen police think that they might be seeing a pattern. So now it's time to circle the wagons. You know, compare notes. So the Goshen cops, they need to holler at the Poughkeepsie police. The Middleton area has had some shenanigans too, so they gotta holler at the state police because that's who handles the law in Middleton. And they all need to have a little come to Jesus, cause maybe, just maybe, there's a serial raping, murdering motherfucker on the loose in these here parts. But y'all know how this shit go by now. They might think that shit, but ain't nobody gonna say it out loud. Oh no. They are not gonna make it official. And they for damn sure ain't gonna tell the public that y'all, you might want to watch yourself, cause there just might be somebody out here snatching up women all over Goshen, Middleton, Poughkeepsie, and surrounding areas. Nah, we know they ain't gonna do that, and they didn't. Now, you remember the 2 friends, Angelina and Brenda? Well, Angelina's family don't feel like the police are really taking this case as seriously as they should be, and they're not dedicating themselves to doing some actual investigating what the fuck has happened to these 2 girls. So since the police ain't gonna do it, the family decide to do the police work for them. Yes, hunty. Angelina's sister, Cecilia, and her mama, Miss Anna, oh baby, they are Inspector Gadget on that ass, and they are out investigating and interviewing people. They have traced the steps of the girls, and they are actually making some headway in their case. They find out about the Breakfast Club meetup and who all was there. So then they pull up on 3 of the dudes that was part of the 4 dudes that was at the breakfast, and they question the fuck out of them. And the dudes are speaking freely because they ain't got shit to hide. They tell mom and sis detective extraordinaire that the girls left with old boy, Nathaniel. He was the one that was supposed to take the girls home, so they got a name. But they don't know where Nathaniel live, who he is, so what now? I tell you what now. Angelina's mama, Miss Anna Hopkins, she know it's more than one way to skin a cat, baby. So she started posting up at Club Blue Note, waiting to see if Nathaniel gonna pop back up on the scene. I mean, this here's a little village. Ain't but so many places to hang out. And if he been to the club once, chances are good that he'll be back. And baby, patience is a virtue, honey. And Mama Hopkins' patience paid off because Nathaniel did indeed show up at the club on August 3rd, 1992. And Mama Hopkins, she a real one. Not none of that TV shit, baby. When she seen that nigga Nathaniel, it was on. Mama was on his ass. If on site was a person, it would be Miss Anna, baby. She confronted Nate about her kid. And of course, he tried to play it like he didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. But Mama Hopkins and the sister, they had done the work. And they knew that he was the one because they had talked to the other three dudes that were there, and everybody's story was the same. The girls left with Nate. So after seeing that Mama Hopkins was standing on business and she was not going to be gaslit, Nate was like, oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I dropped them girls off and kept it pushing. Now, Mama Hopkins, she don't believe shit Nate saying. First, you don't know him. You ain't never met him. Then after I force you to remember because I got receipts, now you saying you dropped them off and ain't nobody seen them since. Get the fuck out of here. That very same night, Mama Hopkins goes to the Poughkeepsie police to bring them the evidence that she has collected that they was too busy to collect. She got this nigga license plate number, a description, witness statements from the club and the restaurant, as well as the other three attendees of the breakfast. Baby, if Nate had kept on denying that shit, she probably would have had a DNA sample too from going upside his head. So since Mama Hopkins has really done all the heavy lifting, the least the cops can do is run the tag and see where this nigga live. Well, turns out the tag on his car is stolen. What? Okay. So then they run Nate's name. Come to find out, he ain't even supposed to be driving because his license is revoked. Well, damn. Well, then they like, well, shit, let's look a little deeper. They finally run a background check and see that this nigga is one of them criminals that probably do all kinds of shenanigans of the sexual violent predator nature. It's time to go holler at this boy. So they get a warrant and they head out to Nate's. But before they go, the Poughkeepsie cops, they do a courtesy call to the state police in Middleton because that's where Nathaniel is staying. And they like, hey, man, we about to go run up on one of your citizens. It's a nigga named Nathaniel White. And the state police in Middleton was like, oh, yeah, we know that nigga. Know him very well. He kidnapped a girl last year and got a sweet little deal for doing it. Oh, and guess what? There was also a report that Nathaniel White had fucked with one of his girlfriend's daughters. So y'all might be onto something. So once the state police get that little update that Poughkeepsie think Nate is probably a serial killer, baby, they mounted up, baby. I'm talking about suited and booted. They tell Poughkeepsie, hey, we ready? We just waiting on y'all. But they really didn't wait, though, because at 11:30 a.m. on August 4th, they was knocking on Nate's door. But Nate didn't answer. And it must have been a slow crime day because they didn't leave. Oh, no. They posted up outside waiting to see if he was going to come home. Well, guess what? Nate was in the house the entire time. I guess he wasn't expecting company because about 30 minutes later, here he comes strolling outside with Jill. Maybe they was busy and didn't hear the knock at the door. I don't know. But they get in Nate's car, the one that's got these stolen tags. His no license having ass pulls off. So the state police, they follow Nate for about 5 minutes till they can't take it no more. And then they pull him over. I mean, they got probable cause. The nigga ain't got no license and his tags are stolen. So, that is the basis for the arrest. So now this nigga is in custody. And baby, Nathaniel holds the line of, I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about, for about 14 hours. And then he develops a case of supersized verbal diarrhea. Y'all, not only did he tell it all to the detectives where the bodies of niece Christine and friends Angelina and Brenda were, because remember, their bodies have never been recovered. He told them why he did what he did and then signed a confession copping to 6 murderations. Ooh, baby. So the police, they go get Christine's body from the town of Wawanda. And Angelina and Brenda, they are recovered in Goshen behind this rundown farmhouse on a service road next to Route 17. But wait, there's more. Y'all ain't even gonna believe this shit. This audacious, diabolical nigga basically gave a press conference. Yes. Tell me why WNBC of New York and the Times Herald Record of Middleton, the reporters asked Nate if he would spell a word or two with them. And Nate was like, sure, come on down to the jail and we can chop it up. And they did the very next day, August 5th, 1992. Now remember, on August 4th, he told the detectives what he did inside his confession. All recorded, right? On August 5th, Nate just let it all hang out. In these reporters' faces who holding these goddamn cameras and recording devices, he tells them that he would hear voices in his head telling him to go take a drive. And he would do that. And then he would some kind of way end up at a bar. And then the voices would tell him, you know what? She deserves to die. You should get her and beat her up. And so he would. And then in a move that is basically life imitating art, this nigga say that he got the idea of how to kill his first victim, Juliana, from a goddamn movie. Yes, New War Nation, I said a movie. This trifling sack of horse shit said that he got the idea of how to do his killings from watching RoboCop. Now, I couldn't remember RoboCop, and I take my reporting of the news seriously. So for this here episode, I watched RoboCop, and sweet black Jesus, it was just full of violence just for the sake of violence. But in RoboCop, there were no scenes that this murderous nigga could have used on his victims. So I had to watch RoboCop 2. It came out in 91, 92, so Nate could have been talking about the sequel. And while I really didn't find anything in it that matched up to how they described how he left his victims, there is a scene where one of the bad guys are dealing with a fat ass dirty cop that was working for the bad guys. They cut him from stem to stern with a scalpel while he was still alive, strapped to a gurney. But they didn't pose him or anything in the grand scheme of murderations and movies. I mean, it really wasn't nothing to write home about. But I guess it made an impact on Nate pussy ass, and I guess it was the inspiration, and he put his own little touch on it. Then this good telling motherfucker went on to say to these reporters, this is gonna air on the live news at 5. This motherfucker says that he enjoyed himself while he was doing the murderations. Sir, again, you are talking to reporters that are recording you both in video and audio. You ain't even went to court yet. You ain't had a pretrial hearing, a bond hearing, nothing. And you are confessing very eloquently to your crimes. But thank you. We sure appreciate you, boy, because you're going to make this shit easy like Sunday morning when it is time to crank up the jury. And I normally don't do this, but I think it's warranted in this case. How the families of these victims found out that their loved one was a victim, oh, it was so fucked up. They were not notified by the police, not Goshen, not Poughkeepsie, not the state police, nobody. They found out when their phones started ringing with reporters wanting to get a interview with them about their dead relative. The reporters are telling them, hey, we heard your people got killed by a serial killer. What? Yeah. Brenda's daddy, for sure, he got one of them phone calls. So after he got the call, I mean, he's in disbelief. He calls the police, and they were like, he calls the police, and he's like, hey, I'm getting these calls. What's going on? Y'all know who killed my baby? Why the police tell this man, this daddy of a murder victim, that they couldn't tell him anything? Fuck you mean you can't tell me nothing? The news reporters got all the tea, and they spilling, but the police can't? Yeah, you see, it was because it was so many hands in the pot with regard to the various police departments. Their excuse was that they all thought another jurisdiction was going to do the notification, but nobody did the notifications. Oh, baby, that's grade A bullshit right there. So, Nathaniel is indicted August 7th, 1992. At that time, he is charged with 1 count of second-degree murder for Christine Cleby, and he pleads not guilty on the 11th. He is indicted on 5 additional counts for the remaining victims on September 9th, 1992, and he pled not guilty in those killations too. Now, that punk-ass Jill is distraught. Her man is the killer of her niece, her friend, and 4 other women. She been with this dude since 86, and let her tell it, she ain't had clue to first that her man, her good man Savannah, was a raper that raped and a murderer that murdered. She say at this point, she is being dragged by everybody in town because her old man was a savage and she guilty by association. Small town justice is swift, baby. Trust. Jill was working at a nursing home when the shit hit the fan. Old girl went to go pick up her check, and the owner told her, "Hey, you ain't even gotta come back, baby. Your services are no longer needed." But a bit, I'm still gone off the fact that the police say that they had to investigate this nigga for molesting one of your children. And I know your brother told you that he thought he had seen Christine that day, but Nate was on that bullshit. Not to mention that, why do you still have his shit? Because this bitch Jill, tell me why she kept all of Nathaniel's shit after he got locked up, after he confessed. Baby, the bonfire that I would have had, I don't want shit belonging to this nigga in my house. Not only that, now I got to get rid of everything I own and start over because I got to erase your presence from my life, from my daughter's lives. I don't give a fat rat's ass what you can't believe, Jill. You sus than a motherfucker too. Nate should have been the recipient of breakfast in bed a long time ago. Hot grits straight to the face while he was asleep. But these dumb bitch university graduates, they just make my ass itch, I swear. Ooh, I'm allergic to them hoes. Now, Nathaniel White is held without bail while he cools his heels at the county jail, but he is under a heightened security, baby, because the peoples have been calling in death threats since they yoked his ass up. And his fellow inmates at the county, they not too pleased with his ass either and would love the opportunity to put a shank in his booty hole. So they got Nathaniel in the maximum security unit at the Orange County jail. This again, Orange County, New York. So that the COs can keep an eye on his ass and keep him safe. Fuck that nigga. Put his ass in general population and let, street justice do what street justice gonna do. But they didn't. They gotta protect the motherfucker they gotta protect the fucking guilty man, but no protection for the innocent victims. Okay. Well, jury selection started on March 9th of 1993 in Orange County. Now, at the trial, the state put on a hell of a case. Now, this trial lasted for 5 weeks, and during that time, the jury of 11 men and 1 woman, they heard testimony from 75 witnesses. They looked at more than 150 pieces of evidence, and they listened to Nathaniel's little press conference and taped interviews where he very calmly and matter-of-factly laid out the shit that he had done. Baby, District Attorney Frank Phillips, he was not playing with their ass. Now, on the defense side, the court-appointed attorney, his name was Bernard Brady. He was in a little bit of a conundrum. Because at first, you know how they do. They want to play the crazy card. But you got to play crazy and act crazy and kind of be crazy to even have a snowball's chance in hell of the jury believing that shit. And in Nathaniel's case, he didn't present crazy or even crazy adjacent. This nigga was very well spoken, very articulate. Any question that you asked him, he had a perfectly rational explanation for why it wasn't him or why he said what he said. So insanity? That shit is out the window. Like, the entire trial, this nigga had a fresh yellow pad that he was taking notes on each and every witness about and conferring with his lawyers. And when the lawyers couldn't think of somebody's name, Nathaniel could tell them who they was talking about. Like, the nigga was intelligent as fuck. What a shame he didn't use that big old brain for good. So since they couldn't plead insanity, they tried to say that the police had violated Nathaniel's rights. But that shit didn't pan out either. So they ain't had no choice but to put Nate's ass on the stand. Bad move. Ooh, that was a bad move. Nate got up there and said, "Yeah, I confessed, but that's because the cops wouldn't let me talk to my attorney. And then when they said I could talk to my attorney, they threatened to charge my girl Jill as an accomplice. And so I just said what I needed to say to protect her." Sir, that might have worked slightly if you hadn't did that little press conference. Everybody seeing your ass on the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock news, talking to them reporters. And baby, them reporters couldn't threaten you or your girl. You was a whole ass chatty Cathy with them, and everybody heard it. So then Nate was like, you know what? It's a conspiracy, and everybody in on it. The police, the victims, and their families. Like, everybody is trying to pin this shit on Nate. Sir, let me get this straight. So you saying everybody lying but you, even though you told the police you did it, you told the police where the bodies were that they hadn't found, Christine, Angelina, and Brenda, you told them where they were. You wrote that shit down and signed it, and then had the absolute nerve and audacity to have a press conference to tell the world live at 5? Boy, bye. I tell you, a lie don't care who tell it, long as it get told, honey. That said, so then they were like, well, sir, how did your bloody fingerprints end up in Laurette's house? Well, Nate said what had happened was I had just so happened to swing by Laurette's house late one night, 'cause she a friend of my old lady. And Laurette wasn't expecting me, but when I got there, I found her body. And in some kind of way, I don't know why, but I just grabbed the murder weapons because I didn't know if I had accidentally touched them or nothing. So just to be on the safe side, I took them with me. And I ain't called nobody because, I was in a panic, Sir, how dumb you think we are? Real dumb. And then he says, and I gave that interview to the news station because it was a detective that said that he was going to make me look crazy. Nah, bro, you doing just fine on that on your own. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, because we talk like that. I wasn't quite sure of the ethnicity of Nathaniel's victims. I mean, we talking upstate New York. This is a crapshoot. I was leaning more towards them being from the Casserole Caucus clan at first, till I read what the families was doing to pass the time while they waited for the jury verdict. And it was at that point that I knew for certain that the majority of the victims were Wakandians. Because I read the families were outside under a tree outside the courthouse playing spades. Y'all know that's the blackest shit ever. Come to find out, all of Nathaniel's victims were black except for Juliana. One thing I found interesting was that Nate's parents, Hester and Miss Mary, they didn't come nowhere near the courthouse while this trial was happening. They didn't speak to no reporters. They minded the business that paid them and sat down and drunk their water. And I ain't even mad at that. Well, the case goes to the jury, and the jury deliberated for about 9.5 hours, and they found Nathaniel's ass guilty as charged on April 13th, 1993. Nathaniel's sentencing was set for May 18th, and at this point, Nathaniel is looking at 150 years to life on this case because New York State didn't have no death penalty. When it came time to make the shit official, Nathaniel did indeed get all 150 of them years to do. Nathaniel is inmate number 93A4050, and he is state property at the Wind Correctional Facility in Erie County, New York. As of 2025, he is 65 years old and has served 32 years of them 150. Nathaniel White is eligible for a parole hearing in October of 2137 when he is 177 years old. That sounds about right. Ooh, child. This case was a whole mess from start to finish. Like, what I don't understand is how Jill stayed down. I normally save all my disparaging comments for the Mayhem Maker, but I just can't let this bitch off the hook that easy, nor her family. Because as I was reading all these old newspaper articles, I came across a couple, that Christine's daddy was interviewed, and he says that he told the police that they needed to look at Nate because his daughter had told him previously that Nate had molested her in 1990. You see, Christine had been living with her Aunt Jill, Nate's girlfriend. So Jill, you already knew. Then your own daughter, a couple of years later, somebody say he molested her. And you stayed locked in with this molesting ass motherfucker? Bitch, you was a special kind of special. Just dick dumb. You graduated valedictorian from Dumb Bitch University. But your family, I'm talking about your mama and them, your brother and them, they knew too. And they let this nigga come around? Like, what in the entire fuck? Ain't no motherfucking way. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Let my man be accused of fucking with my daughter and my niece. The way my family set up, it would be on site every time. Like, they would put that nigga out my house themselves. There would be furniture moving. Baby, if not black dress wearing, you know what I'm saying? Because, how could you? I mean, thankfully, I've never been in this type of situation. But if I were, let me tell you something. I'm rocking with my daughter and my niece every fucking time. There cannot even be a hint that you're doing something underhanded with either one of somebody in my family. We just don't get down like that. Cause baby, what we gonna do, we gonna get together and whoop your ass. But you chose a murdering, raping, molesting nigga over your own blood. You just a fucking trifling asshole, and I hope you been single and unavailable ever since, because clearly you got zero good judgment when a dick is involved. And as for Nathaniel, this is just another sad-ass, fucked-up-ass case of a violent criminal slipping through big-ass cracks in the justice system. He was on parole. That's supposed to mean something. If a parolee fuck up, that's supposed to be their ass. But in most cases, it never is. If the judicial system had followed its own rules when Nate kidnapped that teenage girl at knife point and locked his ass up for the felony that he had committed, he wouldn't have been on the street to kill nobody. I'm so goddamn disgusted with this case. More so because Jill stayed down, and I bet she sent this nigga letters and pictures and shit to this motherfucking day. This whole thing, she a victim because the town gave her their ass to kiss after Nate got arrested. Yeah, bitch, they should have. You aided and abetted this nigga. But you know what? I thank God for Angelina's mama and sister for taking matters into their own hands and investigating Angelina's disappearance. I mean, they were truly doing the Lord's work. I shudder to think that if they hadn't, Nate would still be out there on the prowl to this day, hunting women down. We need more people like that. People that will not be placated through thoughts and prayers. People that are not afraid to jump in and get their hands dirty when the police don't seem interested in doing their jobs. It ain't right. It ain't fair. But it is what it is and what we got to do sometime. Because guess what? This shit happens every day around the country. People are killed and the police are clueless, incompetent, or neglectful. Sure, it won't bring back the dead, but it can damn sure give a level of comfort to know that the motherfucker that killed your people is behind bars. Okay, I'm going to put my soapbox up because I could talk about this shit all day. So let's continue this discussion on social media. You know how to get at me. I'm Melanin Mayhem Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and I am Melanin Mayhem PC on X. The email is stay popping too. I'm at melaninmayhempodcast@gmail.com. This week's New Orleans Nation shout out goes to Priscilla Rose, who left us a review on Spotify on the Minister Merkel Motherfucker episode. Priscilla Rose said, shaking my damn head, how the fuck are you going to commit murder more than once, then commit insurance fraud, and then turn around and bring them to court demanding full payment on a policy? On the best day, during the best year, during the best decade of my life, could I ever have that much confidence to pull off such fuckery? I'm just saying. Me either, child. But apparently we ain't shopping at the right stores because Audacity is on sale for buy one and get one free. Well, these motherfuckers be shopping at. But Priscilla Rose, thank you so much for taking the time to leave me a comment and for streaming the country girl. I really do appreciate it. Now again, this little summer cold is whooping my ass, and there is a gang of coughing and heavy breathing in this here recording. And y'all know I can't have that. It's gonna work my soul over, but my daughter has said that she got me. Again, I have no idea what the editing is going to be like. I have just asked her basically to please take out all of the coughing. And so you might get a bunch of heavy breathing because, you know, breathing and talking and coughing, it's real hard work. But she gonna get in the kitchen and she gonna try to whip this thing up. But until we talk again next week, New Orleans Nation, I want y'all to know I appreciate y'all so much for just rocking with me, sick or not. Because you know I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put in this work regardless. So y'all go on ahead and stay safe and stay vigilant. And above all else, remember, if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. It's one love, New Orleans Nation, and the country girl is out of here. Mwah.
Ooh-wee, Nana, you did that.